I think everybody has a hobby. Some people like to ride bicycles, some people like to ride horses. My hobby's always been drinking beer and chasing women. I was in a bar and overheard a conversation about this guy was trying to impress a cute little blonde, saying how he just spent $100 on a steak. And so I kind of interrupted. I'm like, well, what kind of steak was that? He said it was a Wagyu steak. He said, I've never heard of Wagyu cattle, but I feel like steaks are small, cows are big, so this $100 bills probably add up. So I just did a little bit of research, and about a week later, bought a herd. Yeah, I'm Josh Eilers. I'm the founder of Ranger Cattle here in Austin, Texas. We do a lot of wholesale distribution of Wagyu beef that we raise right here on the ranch. Well, when I was 17 years old, I left high school and joined the Army, and I've always been one of those kids that's like, hey, if you're gonna do something, do it, be the best at it. So I didn't want to just join the Army and be a soldier. I wanted to be an Army Ranger because I heard they were the best. As far as naming comes, I was like, hey, I've always liked the name Ranger. It sounds good, so let's just name the beef side, Ranger Cattle. So the reason we specialize in Wagyu is for a pure economical standpoint. So our idea is if we're gonna raise 100 head of cows, let's raise the best 100 we can. So we're very progressive cattle breeders. Like, we think that every year you should be getting better. And the only way to really do that is to be completely focused on your core product. And so we're able to do that on lower numbers, but having the better numbers in the Wagyu breed. So the biggest difference between Wagyu and another type of breed, such as an Angus or one that people are more familiar with, is the intermuscular fat. So they have genetic predisposition to, instead of depositing that fat on the outside of the steak, they'll deposit intermuscularly. So it's very well marbled. And anytime you have marbling, more fat, you have more flavor. And that turns into a better eating experience for the end consumer. I think especially with the millennials and the new generation that's coming up and starting families, they really want to know what they're eating and where it's coming from. So the fact that we have an animal that we raise in Austin and it never leaves the city limits and it's even consumed by Austinites, there's a romantic aspect to it, and it's just cool. Everyone thinks it's cool. So we're able to have a competitive advantage over all of our competitors in the beef world because, hey, we're the local guys, we're the hometown kids, and hey, we have land here. So yeah, we're about 7 miles from downtown Austin. We're in Austin city limits. Isn't it cool? Here at Ranger Cattle, we're different than other operations, especially because most of the time in the beef industry, you have the guys that raise the mama cows that calve, and then they sell those calves to another guy who just kind of raises them out on grass. It's called a stalker. And then that guy will sell them to a feed yard, which will then sell them to a beef company, which then will distribute the meat and everything else. Well, here at Ranger Cattle, we're vertically integrated. So we'll do everything from breeding cattle, like what we're doing right now this time of year, to calving them out, raising them up, and finishing them off all ourselves. So from the day we breed until the day we deliver that finished steak is about a 3-year timeline.
Believe it or not, I say I have a lot of girlfriends. Yeah, we're standing behind all of them right now. Whole hour here, we're at Ranger Cattle in Austin, Texas. There's only myself and the owner, Josh Eilers, that kind of run the show. Yeah, out here we have some of our bulls over here behind you guys. And then over here, some of the, we got some cows that we use the term recep cows, and that's a recipient. So we have these animals just received embryos. So in 9 months from now, these things will have calves on the ground. And from then on, we let Mother Nature do her course. Let the calf grow up on the mom, after so many days you wean them. And that's how you grow your herd. That's how a small time operation becomes a dynasty.
Yeah, in total, Ranger Cattle controls about 3,000 acres on the outside of Austin, and we'll run anywhere between 500 and 600 animals on it at any given time. The land isn't really our limiting factor. It's mostly, the animals are our highest concern, so the health and well-being of them. And so that's as many as our staff can really handle and do it in the right way. We do a lot of partnerships with commercial land developers. And the reason we do that is because those guys are interested in purchasing land that's close to the populace, so around major cities. And we also want to be close to major cities because we want distribution of our product to be cheaper, So our partnership with them allows them to get an agriculture exemption on that land and it gives us access to land where we can raise cattle. Each time we know some plot in our area is going up for sale, we're always reaching out to those developers saying, hey, you know, we're running on all sides of you, so we should just acquire your chunk as well and run our cattle in one seamless operation. So we're constantly growing, constantly, you know, building our network. The number one thing we look for in land is that it can grow grass, because at the end of the day, cows turn grass into steaks, and we sell steaks. So the more grass we can find, the better. So you need water, absolutely. And one of the things about our land that a lot of people don't really understand is that a lot of it's in floodplains, which deters traditional developers. Well, we really like it because twice a year or so it floods. And that's bringing in fresh sediment, and it's fertilizing our fields and washing away whatever we don't want on there. So it enables us to always have fresh soil to grow, you know, bright green grass, and the cows really enjoy it. A cow out on pasture eats essentially grass. You know, we'll supplement them with vitamins, nutrients, things like that they need in order for basic metabolic functions, right? We'll give them some corn, some barley, and like a finishing ration. And the biggest reason for that is cows are just like kids. They never want to eat their vegetables. They would rather eat that one ingredient that they like the most. So we mix it all together so that they have a well-balanced meal every meal. We do have to purchase some of it, and as far as our growth strategies and plans in the future, we'd love to be able to grow our own corn, our own barley, and then be able to use that in our own finishing ration. What we're able to create ourselves is the roughage, so the hay. So we're able to use our land, you know, cut and bale the hay, and then we're able to feed that through the winters and whatnot. But essentially all we're doing is using the grass that grows on the land and, you know, making sure it's well fertilized and then maintaining it. And that would feed a cow year round. There's a reason why not many people are just going out and forming beef companies. That's because of the hurdles. For example, you know, the biggest one is obviously land acquisition, and then all the big equipment, you know, tractors, trucks, trailers, you know, and that's all just to raise an animal. And then you got to look at, all right, what am I going to do with these animals? Am I just going to sell them somewhere, or am I going to really try to make the money and go all the way through fabrication and selling the beef yourselves? And it just takes a lot of manpower, a lot of equipment, and a lot of knowing what you're doing. Education has been a major hurdle, just learning how to do each stage in development all the way to the consumer, and then getting good at it so that you're actually making money. One downside that the Wagyu breed doesn't have is they don't have what are called EPDs. Essentially what that is, it's a number that tells you how good this animal is or how bad this animal is. So they don't have that. So what we do here at Ranger Cattle is we identify within our own herd who are the top performers and who are the bottom performers. And you always want to make sure that every year you're breeding a better animal. And we're able to see that because we collect carcass data by being vertically integrated. So we have that strategic advantage over any one of our competitors. So we'll essentially take the best bull we have every year and cross it with the best female we have every year and build a herd off of that through some modern day reproductive technologies such as like embryonic transfers and whatnot. And essentially what we're doing there is just using our bottom level of cows out on a pasture, using them as just surrogates, holding embryos of our best animals. So we're able to grow herds overnight and getting better every year. So this is just our stud barn. Essentially what these guys do is they're just in here to gain weight. For the most part, what happens is when a bull goes out and breeds a herd of cows, they'll lose a bunch of weight. Like we're talking about 300 pounds or so. So they'll work for about 90 days covering a herd and then come back in here for about 90 days just to try to gain that weight back. So we'll feed them a high energy diet right here as much as they want. So just like some grain in there, some brewer's grain, corn, some hay, just roughage that's real easy on their rumen. And we'll try to get about 3 pounds of growth out of them every day, just recovering so that they can breed more cows. Because essentially their only job in this world is to breed cows. So Wagyu is a Japanese breed, so we stay pretty traditional on the Japanese names. Kikamichi, he's my favorite because we do a bunch of data collection on every animal. And the reason we like him so much is because we ran his DNA, and some real smart scientist somewhere has been able to identify certain genes in the genome of a cow that will enhance the beef quality. And essentially, you know, if he has it, he's gonna pass it on. Well, there's 5 major traits that we've identified in Wagyu, and he's got all 5. So it's about a 1 in 200,000 chance that you'll have those genetic markers, and he does. He has them all, so he's my favorite. He's probably our most valuable bull. The livestock industry, the beef industry, it's a very traditional market. It's a very, what I like to call a stale market. There's been no massive innovation in it in the last 50 years or so. So we catch some kind of backlash, if you want to say, because the way we operate is just different. And we think anytime you can utilize modern technologies to grow a business, you should. And in the livestock world, there are these modern technologies, but not many people use them, but we like to stay on the forefront of it and just to capitalize on this growth and make sure we're growing in the right direction, because if you can't, it's hard to manage something you can't measure. So we're always looking for tools to measure these cattle. So shoot you straight, if you want to start in cattle, the biggest advice I would give you is just have your plan and stick to it. And so if you want to be a cow-calf guy and you want to sell those calves to your local stock farm every year, okay, do that, but find out how you can do that the best. And a lot of that might be through marketing or just being innovative and using these new technologies. So anything you can utilize to your advantage to give you a competitive advantage, like absolutely, you should utilize it. Relationships will take you farther than anything else. Whether it's relationships with the chefs or your bankers or even your neighbors. We rely on chef relationships quite a bit whenever, hey, we're having a slow month, can you purchase a little early? Or, you know, even with our neighbors, hey, we're working a bunch of cattle today, can you come over and give us a hand so we don't have to hire some extra guys just for the day? I think the best part of this operation and my dream coming to fruition is the number of people that we feed every day. Like, there was once a magazine article written about us when we were real young, and we were feeding 50 people a day, and now we're up to like 3,000 people a day. So we're really growing, and that's that's the statistic that I care about the most, is how many people are we feeding every day. And because I think that's a beautiful thing, and the more the better. You can purchase Ranger cattle beef at any of the farmers markets that we supply in downtown Austin, or as well about 30 different restaurants. A lot of restaurants will put our name on the menu, and that helps out with us because it advertises for us as well as it makes them look pretty good, because it's easy to say that you support local or, you know, this is a farm to table operation, but unless you're buying your beef local, it's not happening. I think land in agriculture is a means to success. So anytime you've got a tool and the tool is the land and you can use that tool to your benefit and feed people, that's a beautiful thing. So the more you can care for that land and take care of that land and let that land work for you, the better. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it on that one. Just take care of the land. Yeah, it'll take care of you. I've always had a dream of raising a bunch of kids out on a ranch, and the biggest reason for that is because you see these animals grow up and you see how the land provides for them. So beef and other produce, it's not raised on the shelf of a store, whereas I think a lot of people think that it is. I heard the other day that we're 3 generations away from a farmer now, the average American is. So I love the idea that land it's in touch with nature, because that's where everything comes from in the beginning. So even if you're in downtown Austin or New York City and you're eating a steak, well, that steak came from a pasture, that came from nature, and an animal converted that grass into that steak that you're eating, no matter where you are in the world. Yeah, isn't that cool? It kind of makes me sad, to tell you the truth, that like more people don't realize that, you know? I think we need to do a better job in this industry of educating consumers on, hey, what is nature and what can nature do for us? Because everyone's real worried about protecting nature, and it's like, well, you need to know why you are. In America, we have the most reliable, cheapest food source in the world. So I think we sometimes take advantage of nature's providing capabilities. Having access to large chunks of land has enabled us to grow, and has enabled us to have a fighting chance at our dreams coming true as a new agricultural operation, where sometimes funding is short and hard to come by, and you gotta save money where you can, but having access to the land at least gives us a fighting chance at growing. LANDiO, land is opportunity.